What is up, everybody? Welcome to the first episode of Chat HVAC. How's it going, everybody? I am Scott Jackson, and I am the Senior Service Technician at Comfort Solutions Heating and Cooling. We're based in the Cincinnati area of Ohio, and on this show, we are going to bring you short, practical tips to keep your home safe, comfortable, energy efficient, and without all the confusing technical nonsense. Every week, I'm going to tackle the questions that I get from homeowners every single week about heating, cooling, air quality, and so much more, just so you know exactly how to keep your home comfortable all year long. So to start this show out, we wanted to bring the first episode to you just to kind of let you know what we're about, why the show was created, who we are as a company. Comfort Solutions is a family-owned HVAC company servicing primarily residences in the Cincinnati area of Ohio. Now, all that being said, this show is made for anybody. You don't have to be here. You can be in Wisconsin. It doesn't matter to me. These things that we're going to be discussing are questions and answers to questions that any homeowner can use around the country, just from a HVAC technician to the customer. So Comfort Solutions started back in 1980, and we've been primarily family owned, locally operated, never been a huge corporation or anything like that. But one thing that we wanted to bring was something that customers, that homeowners could use, some content that could be valuable to them to be able to learn a little bit more about their own HVAC system. This can be something that can be a little bit confusing to homeowners. There's not really a lot of information out there. Most podcasts, most YouTube channels, most content that's produced in the HVAC world is directed at technicians like myself, directed at business owners, or directed at just general trades people who work in the industry. But there's not a whole lot of content directed to you, to the homeowner. That's what we wanted to provide for you. We wanted to give you something of value to be able to educate you on your system. I tell my customers all the time, every day, all week, this is your home. This is your HVAC system. You should understand as much about it as you want to. And that is the purpose of this show. The name Chat HVAC, where we got it from, is kind of a play on words with the Chat GPT, that wonderful app that gives you all the answers to all of your questions. But that's kind of the point. We wanted these to be short, consumable episodes to answer some of your specific questions that you might have regarding your HVAC system. We get questions every day from customers in our area, and we thought, hey, I bet people everywhere want to know more about their HVAC system. And with that in mind, this podcast is 100% about you, the homeowner. We're not talking to tradespeople. We're not talking to technicians. We're not talking to business owners. We are talking to you as the homeowner. Everyone has some sort of heating and or cooling system in their home, and you should know how it works. So oftentimes what I see with homeowners and what they struggle with the most is HVAC is incredibly stressful when it breaks. It can be expensive to repair. It's kind of like taking your car to the shop. You never know if it's going to be a $200 visit to the mechanic or if it's going to be a $5,000 visit to the mechanic. That's a lot of times the sentiment that I get from people. You know, the first thing they hit me with as soon as I walk in the door is, man, I hope this isn't going to break the bank. And I get that. Like, that's a lot. And that can be stressful. And if you don't understand it, that stress can be elevated even above what it might be if you had a little bit of an understanding as to how your system worked. There's lots of conflicting information online. You can go to one source and it'll say, these filters are really good for your system. You go to this other source and it says these filters are going to kill your system. You can go to one source that says you should run your fan all the time in your house. And then you go to another one and it says, no, if you do that, you're going to fry your motor. There's conflicting information all around. We wanted this to be a resource of accurate information without confusion from a technician who's been in the field for over 10 years. Another thing that I see that homeowners often struggle with as it relates to their HVAC system is rising energy bills. HVAC accounts for 70% of your utility bills roughly, depending on the season, depending on the demand, about 70% of your utilities is made up of your HVAC system conditioning your home. If those bills go up, it very well could be an issue with your HVAC system. And that's the first thing that people jump to. So these are some of the things that we're wanting to address here. Our goal here is simple: to make HVAC simple, actionable, and approachable. So what can you expect in Chat HVAC? You can expect short tips, occasional guest interviews. We'll have technicians on that work with me. We'll have some of our own personal customers here in our area to talk about their experience, both with us and just to get a homeowner's perspective on the show, to be able to talk to you, other homeowners, about what they went through, solutions that worked for them, information that helped them, things like that. Topics that we plan to cover in this show: filter changes, repair versus replace decisions, smart thermostats, indoor air quality, energy savings, and so much more. And we're also going to include some frequently asked questions. We thought maybe doing a Q&A segment would be a good thing to do. Things like, why isn't my AC cooling? How often should I change my air filter? How often should I get a tune-up on my heating and cooling equipment? These are the top 3 questions that we see online, that we see in person, and anecdotally, just the customers that I see on a weekly basis. These are the top 3 questions that I get asked. And we're going to have weekly episodes. They'll be short, but they'll be packed with value. We don't want to waste your time. We don't want you to sit and listen to a 60-minute video to find the one little answer that you're looking for. So we will have chapter breakdowns. If you're looking for something specific, you can just jump right to that. Don't feel pressured to watch the whole episode. But we wanted to make it digestible, attainable, and something that you're easily able to consume to get all the information that you want to get and move on to the next thing that you have to do. So, right from the top, first episode, I know this is a little bit of an introduction, but we wanted to provide some value to you. So one little tip that we're going to give you, it's maybe an obvious one. You might know it, but believe it or not, this is something that I see all the time. Change your air filter. Somebody needs to be reminded to change your air filter. Somebody forgot. It's been in there for 2 years and you didn't know it. Go check it. Go make sure it's not filthy and get it changed out. That's a good thing to do. So changing air filters, it matters for a multitude of reasons. This is something extremely simple, but really, truly, if you neglect your filter, what it can do is obviously can restrict airflow. It's like putting a cardboard box right in the middle of your airstream if it's totally plugged up, and you're going to cause undue stress on your blower motor. You're going to, if your AC system is running, you're going to notice some freezing. That's because your evaporator coil, which is the coil that's inside the house, gets too cold and it's going to freeze. It's going to turn to a block of ice. And if air can't get across it, if that warm air from the house can't blow across the coil, we're going to freeze. So that's one thing. That's one thing that we see a lot. Somebody calls, says, hey, my system's freezing. It probably just needs Freon. But one of the most common things that I see, especially on newer equipment, they'll call us and say, hey, this system's only 5 years old. Why is it freezing? I'm like, well, when's the last time you changed your filter? Probably about 5 years ago. We'll go out, pull it out. Filter's black as night, and we'll swap it out for a new one, let it thaw out for 24 hours. They're good to go. So that is one of the big reasons. But another thing is it can cause slightly increased energy bills. Your blower motor's consuming more energy. Your air conditioner has a little bit more stress on it. All of these things can contribute to higher energy bills, albeit probably marginally, but that is something that can happen by a plugged air filter. It also increases system longevity. Regularly changing your filter, keeping your system clean is very, very, very important. Believe it or not, inside that unit that you have in your house where the filter goes, whether you have a gas furnace or you have a heat pump air handler situation, your filter is before the air gets into the system. And inside that unit, there's control boards, there's electronics, there's contacts, there's all sorts of things in there. And dirt is an unbelievable conductor of electricity. I've seen many control boards be shorted out on the back side because they're filthy. They're absolutely dirty. And all this dirt and dust getting on the back side of the control board causes it to short against the casing that it's attached to. And that's an issue. How often should you change your filters? Really depends on what size you have. If you have the little 1-inch filters, I would highly recommend changing it every 30 to 90 days. This is something that people are like, well, I mean, I change about once every 6 months, and they've got like a 1-inch fiberglass filter. I mean, you could probably get by with a fiberglass filter after 6 months. But honestly, you need to be replacing your 1-inch filter every 30 to 90 days. If you have a 2-inch filter, you're probably going to be looking at 3 months, 4 months. You could get by. A 4-inch filter probably every 6 months, 6 to 9 months, and then your 5-inch filters, they're typically good for 9 to 12 months depending on the conditions that they're in. I'm just going to give you a little bit. I'm going to confess. I'm an HVAC technician. I'm the senior technician at the company that I work at. My own HVAC system stopped working at my house because I neglected to change my own filter. Now, it's probably because I was busy taking care of your HVAC system. But don't feel bad about that. I'm not asking for sympathy. I just want to give you an example as to why changing your air filter is so important. My AC stopped working, and I was like, what in the world? It's 78 degrees in my house. My AC should be working. Sure enough, I didn't change the filter for about 6 months, like about a 1-inch filter in the system. So just a little bit of information. We just wanted to give you some valuable tips here, even in the first episode, even in the introduction of the show, just to give you something that you can take away with. Somebody out there needs to be reminded to change their air filter. They just do. I just know it. Another tip that we can discuss today is somebody needs to be reminded to move the couch off of your supply vent. If you have furniture sitting over all of your registers, your returns, your supplies, your house probably isn't going to feel very comfortable. Air's got to have room to move. The duct systems ideally are designed to blow air on objects, not on people. So we want air to be able to get back behind the couch and condition the walls and make the furniture cooler, or if it's in the summer or in the wintertime, make the furniture warmer. And all of those things absorb the heat that's in the system or absorb the cooling that's being produced by the system and allow the house to feel more comfortable. Plus, completely obstructing all of your outlets or your intakes for your system is going to cause a lot of issues, airflow issues. Airflow is a big problem that homeowners don't think about. That's why we're here. We just want to let you know these things. We want these things to be familiar, attainable, approachable, and we want you to feel confident addressing your own HVAC system with things that are in reason. Of course, there's times where you need to call a professional like us, but by and large, we live in a DIY age, and we want you to be equipped to be able to deal with these things properly and have a full understanding as to how your heating and cooling system actually works. Now, one thing we do want is if you're a homeowner out there and you're listening to this show for the very first time, or you're listening to this show at all, we want you to send us your questions. If you have something that you just can't find the answer to, you just want to learn more, send us your questions. We'll have an email attached to the description of the show. Send us your questions. We want to hear from you. You can, if you're watching on YouTube, you can leave a comment on this video. What are some questions that you have about your own heating and cooling system? We would love to address those for you, and we might even address them on another episode. But I do want to go ahead and remind you, if you do submit a question, subscribe to the channel. That's the best way that you can help our show out, but it also will keep you in the loop with all of the questions that we're discussing, and we might even answer your question on a coming episode. So just kind of in summary, Chat HVAC is a source of information for you as a homeowner. We at Comfort Solutions, myself, some of the other staff there, we felt like trades companies have a bad rap. There's lots of trade companies out there that are sketchy. There's lots of, whether it's HVAC, plumbing, electrical, auto mechanics, anything, any blue collar work actually can have a bad rap because there are people out there who like to take advantage of the fact that the homeowner, you, probably doesn't know much. And lots of times they'll give you answers that are just blowing smoke. They're just talking and talking and talking to make it sound like they know what they're talking about. But in reality, they may not actually know what's going on. And they're just trying to give you information to be able to get out the door. I've seen it happen. That is not an attack on any of my fellow HVAC technicians by any means. But we wanted to provide a clear source of information to you as the homeowner. We wanted you to be able to have a place where you could go and say, okay, I know if I get an answer from these people that it's going to be honest, it's going to be clear, it's going to be transparent, it's going to be understandable, and I'm going to be able to take it and actually apply that information to whatever situation I'm working with. Whether it's you got a unit that's freezing up, go check your air filter. That thing can contribute to that, right? We just talked about the importance of air filters. If your system's freezing up, go check your air filter before you call us. Or even if you do call us and say, hey, wait, I checked my air filter. It's super dirty. I heard on an episode of Chat HVAC that can be a cause for my system freezing, right? Take it out. Let your fan run for 24 hours. Check it again tomorrow. So all of these things, like this show is meant to give you information so you can piece together things that relate, that you may not be aware that relates. You would not believe the amount of homeowners that meet me with a look of disbelief when their system is freezing up and I pull out a dirty air filter, show it to them and say, I promise you this is the cause. We let it thaw out. We check it again. We check the refrigerant levels and everything's picture perfect. The only problem was the air filter, and they are absolutely blown away. Like, no one thinks about these things being connected, and it's super simple, and they get upset when they have to pay a diagnostic charge. And we want to provide some of that information for you so you don't have to call us for something simple like that. You know, believe it or not, we don't want to come out and charge you an arm and a leg just to change your air filter when you forgot about it for the last 3 years. We don't want to charge you an arm and a leg just to change your batteries in your thermostat. If you can do these things yourself, if you are armed with this information, this is something that could save you some money in the long run, and it's some value that we can still provide to you as the homeowner. Again, this show is 100% for you. If you own a home and you don't work in HVAC, send us your questions, send us your comments, send us anything that you want. We'd like to hear from you. If you have a question, if you have a concern, if you have something that you're confused on, if another HVAC company told you some information and you just want to bounce it off of somebody who's going to be objective. Another thing we don't do is we do not tear down other companies for the sake of tearing down other companies. Our concern is with you, the homeowner. Our concern is with you as the owner of this HVAC system, and we want you to have accurate information. If another technician or another company did not give you accurate information, that's something that you would want to know. If I called somebody to work on my vehicle, I'm not an auto mechanic. If I have somebody work on my vehicle and I don't really understand everything they're saying, and I take it to somebody else and they say, listen, that's not exactly accurate. Here's how I know that, and here is the accurate information. That is more valuable to me than going to the cheapest auto mechanic around. So that's kind of what we're wanting to do. If you have any questions, if you have any concerns, if you have something that you want to bounce off of somebody that's going to be objective, this is the place to do that. Send us your questions, send us your proposals, send us anything you've got, and we'll take a look at it for you and kind of let you know what we think about it. So all of that being said, I want to thank you for joining me on the very first episode of Chat HVAC. If today's tips that we discussed were helpful, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you have watched through for 20 minutes this video, for goodness sakes, hit the like button. It's not an Academy Award. You're not giving us some major nomination. Just hit the like button. It helps us out a lot. And hit that little bell so you don't miss any future episodes. We want you to get the notifications whenever these episodes are coming out. And if you have any questions that you'd like answered right here on the podcast, send it to us at info@comfort-solutions.net. Again, that is info@comfort-solutions.net. We'll put that down in the description. Send us your questions. Send us your information. We'd love to talk with you. Next week, we are going to cover one of the most overlooked parts of your HVAC system and how a 5-minute fix can save you money this fall. And a little hint, we talked about it today briefly. Until then, I'm Scott Jackson with Comfort Solutions, trying to help you stay comfortable all year round. We'll see you next week.